Hello everyone and welcome to my humble kitchen. Today we are going to do some cooking. It is a damp and dreary day, but I thought I would showcase a little bit of pink today. Brighten up the day a little bit, and I hope you stay tuned because we are going to be working out of a very old magazine from the 1990s, and it is The King's Daughter. I hope you stay tuned. Today I am going to showcase a recipe from the old magazine called The King's Daughter. Now, I didn't know anything about this back in the 1990s, but recently I found a whole bunch of magazines and I have been reading them. And it is called The King's Daughter, encouraging young women to be all glorious within. And you know, it was such a charming magazine, and so I did a little research on it, and it was two young daughters. They were sisters. I think they were teenagers or preteen. I think they were teenagers. And they developed this magazine. I don't know how long it ran. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of it, but it was all kinds of articles to encourage young women, and it encourages us older women too. But today we are going to make a recipe out of that. I'm going to take 1 pound of ground beef and turn it into 2 family meals. So it's going to be a ½ pound of ground beef per meal, not per serving, per whole meal. And I'm going to use this recipe, and then I'm going to make a simple chili recipe. But this recipe is, I don't know the pronunciation, so I'm going to spell it to you. I'm sorry, I just don't know about these kind of things. It's called Cavitini. Hello. It's called Cavitini. C-A-V-A-T-E-E-N-I. I know I'm really botching that up. Please forgive me. It's not Dutch, I can tell you that. So it's calling for those kind of noodles. I don't have them kind of noodles, so I'm just using the rotini noodles. I guess that's what you call it. There's no Italian in me. I can guarantee you that. So I'm going to share with you the recipe below so you can see the full recipe. Now, certain items, it's going to be a little bit different for me because there might be some items that I don't quite have. Actually, I think I have everything. Okay, enough for rambling. But because we're talking about magazines, I just want to take a quick second and show you something else. And then we'll get started in all of these meals. So this is going to be a full video. What I'm trying to do in my cooking videos is to have a broad cooking. So not just one little thing that's a couple minutes long, but share with you all kinds of food. I'm having a bunch of my family over, and I need to have some food ready on hand. So I'm going to show you something else here in just a second. Believe it or not, I still had a few straggling Christmas gifts, which is amazing because I had them for my birthday. So these are my birthday gifts. And I wanted to show you this really quick. So isn't that charming how she made that out of hot pad from the Dollar Tree, and she made it into a pillow. And then since we're talking about magazines, Brenda sent me all of these magazines, and I'm really excited to read them. So I don't have any of these. I don't buy any of them. So this is great. So thank you so much, Brenda. And I'm finding all kinds of recipes in all of these magazines. All right, so let's get started into our recipe. I got 1 pound of ground beef at the Family Dollar. It was $4.99. We are going to saute this whole thing, and then I'm going to use half of it for both recipes. Now, the recipe does call for 1 full pound, but we're going to skimp a little bit on the meat. And then also I have a bunch of these peppers I'm going to add to the ground beef because they were in my freezer and I wanted to use them up. We'll go ahead and do that. And then we're going to work on my bread. So I hope you all seen these videos because this was bread in a jar. It's so simple to make a family size bread. All you have to do is put it in your bread pan. Now, you can use this. You don't have to have a bread machine. You can also just do it by hand. But I'm going to put it in my bread machine, get that started first because that's going to take the longest to cook. All right, I'll get back to you in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to saute all that meat and get the bread started. Too many irons in the fire. I was telling hubby it's too many irons in the fire. Now I know that saying because when you have, or too many women in the kitchen. That's another one. When there's too many people going on. I got noodles boiling and I got ground beef sauteing and I got this working on this and that and this and that. That's why I'm wearing a t-shirt today, because I figured, you know what? I am not going to get all hot and don't even say that. That's okay. Don't even say that. Bye. All right, so this is my homemade bread in a jar recipe I did not too long ago, and I will share that right up here. Share it over there. I love it because in a matter of minutes, you can just put a loaf of bread in your bread machine, or you can make it. And I'm not going to tell you how to do this because you have to go watch the video because it's self-explanatory on there. But it adds butter to it, and then I have my yeast already proofed. You want to try to proof your yeast just to make sure it's still alive. That means you put it in the warm water and add just a little bit of a sweetener. All right, now all we have to do is stick that in the bread machine and it will work on its own, and we don't have to do anything for the bread. But I almost forgot. I do want to add a little bit of poppy seeds today. And I am going to add a little bit of chopped onion. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to assemble it. You know, really, it's like a pasta bake. So we're going to have homemade pizza sauce or spaghetti sauce. So this is my homemade pizza sauce. I use it interchangeably. And then we're going to have my homemade mushrooms. Of course, you could admit that. And then homemade tomatoes, and we just throw everything together, a little bit like a pasta bake. All right, let me put it all together. So the meat is still sauteing back here, but we can go ahead and we can layer all of the items up, and we can go ahead and layer all the food. Like I said, I will share with you the recipe in the description box below. Now we'll go ahead and put our noodles in. Now the onions are being sauteed with the ground beef. I'll put a little bit of cheese on, and now I have to wait to the ground beef. So I'll put the layered cheese on. And then I'll wait, and I'll get back to you when the ground beef is finished. All right, so now we're going to put half of the ground beef in here. Only half, because we need the other half for another meal. So when you cook a casserole like this with a starch, you don't need to have quite as much meat. Now I think I made extra noodles. That's okay, because I'm going to make some pasta salad on another day. So I'm just going to add another layer of noodles. We're just going to do one more layer. That's perfect. And now we're going to go ahead and add another layer of our pizza sauce. Now notice I'm not using any salt or any pepper. I'm not using any of that. The pizza sauce is really seasoned with a lot of herbs. So I want to make sure it's all covered, because you don't want to have hard, dry noodles on the top. That should be fine. Let me add just a little bit of my stewed tomatoes on, just to give it a little more liquid. That's perfect. And now we're going to go ahead and add a layer of cheese. Some homemade bread. That's rising really nice. The pasta bake turned out perfect. I also made some pasta salad and another meal as well. Stay tuned tomorrow to find out what else did we make that day. Hi everybody, it's Homestead Tessie coming to you with another product review. And this one is a USB powered lighter for lighting your candles, or for all your lighting needs. Let me show you how this works. It looks like a pen, and in the back you can turn it on. It turns itself off after a couple minutes, so you don't need to worry about accidentally leaving it on. And all that you do is you push up with your thumb, and it produces a little bit of it produces an electric fire, which in seconds lights your candles. It also comes with its own USB cord that you can plug it into any USB device.